Are you sick of donating your hard-earned money to the sports books? Well, so am I. So I've got the juice on 6 NBA player props for these upcoming games. If that sounds interesting, let's get into it. Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to you live from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice and the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me. If you've been watching my daily NBA player prop videos, I'm assuming there are times when you're watching the NBA and you're checking the box score and you feel like this guy. Well, you're not alone. All this research, analysis, and knowledge of the game is what makes this content juicy, but I'm all about picking winners. So I've made an adjustment to my strategy for today's picks. What I want you to do is let me know in the comment section if you notice the difference in my strategy. I've got 6 player props with analysis for you. My favorite player of the day is the very last player prop, and I'm confident you won't see many others taking it. Stick around or skip ahead if you want to go see that. Kicking it off with our first pick, we're taking Giannis Antetokounmpo under 46.5 points, rebounds, and assists. In his last 6 games, he's averaging 46.2 points, rebounds, and assists, and he's covered this line 3 times. Giannis is averaging 50.8 PRA in his last 10 games, and he's covered this in his last 6. Although his last 3 games were shithouse, his knee was clearly giving him issues before being sidelined for 5 games. Now, I like this under for a few reasons. I think the only thing that can stop the Bucks from getting to the NBA Finals is injuries. Jrue Holiday, Giannis, and Middleton have missed some time this year, and I doubt they ride Giannis hard in his first game back in almost 2 weeks. When Jrue Holiday returned from injury, he only played 20 minutes per game for 2 consecutive games before playing his usual minutes. The Milwaukee Bucks are 11-point favorites, so there's a likelihood that this game is all but over by the end of the 3rd quarter. Now, a strong argument against this pick is that the Pistons are trash. They're missing 2 key bigs. Stewart and Bagley will be out, so Giannis has a very easy matchup in this one. I think if Giannis does play less minutes, players like Bobby Porter should have a very strong game, so they're the ones to look out for. Our second pick's another under on the PRA. We're taking Paolo Banchero under 26.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He's averaging 29.4 points, rebounds, and assists in his last 10 games, and he's covered this line in 6 of them. In 3 games against the Celtics, he's covered this line easily in all 3 games, posting 33.7 points, rebounds, and assists. So why am I taking his unders? Well, the books wouldn't set this line so low for no reason. Something's up. I don't know what it is, but there is something. I think he's getting tired. Now, rookies who start the year the way that he did, they seem to struggle midway through the season. NBA teams are starting to figure him out. Also, his shot attempts, they've tanked in the last 3 games. He's averaging 15 shot attempts per game this season. That's dropped down to less than 10. What changed in the last 3 games? The Magic are getting players back, and when they get more players back from injury or suspension, you see players like Banchero get impacted, so his minutes are down, playing 28 minutes per game in his last 3 compared to his season average of almost 35. As the Magic get closer to full strength, he's going to play less. Okiki's the only one who's definitely out, but there's also reports that Jonathan Isaac is making his return in this game. They have a lot of depth on the wings and in the front court, so I think that Banchero gets impacted here. You can see it through some of his lines. But if you don't like taking the unders, another one to look at is his assist line. It's over 2.5 assists is his line at the moment. He's covered this in 8 of his last 10 games and all 3 games against Boston. So there's a Banchero play for you. Our next pick's also within the same game. It's Derek White over an assist. Now, his market's not out at the moment, but I think his assist line's a good play. Both Marcus Smart and Malcolm Brogdon are out for this game, which is going to result in more minutes for Derek White and Peyton Pritchard. White gets a starting spot and should play 30+ minutes against the Magic. Over the last 2 weeks, the Magic are allowing the 3rd most assists to point guards. Derek White is the most likely playmaker on the team. I don't see a blowout in this one, which means White should play a great chunk of minutes. 3 more picks for you, but if you have gotten this far, hopefully you're enjoying this one. Smash that like button for me. Subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 1,000. We're trying to get there before the NBA playoffs, baby. Our next pick, we're taking Jakob Poeltl over 11.5 points. He's covered this line in 5 of his last 10 games, averaging 12 points per game. It's nothing really impressive about his recent form, but whenever I think of the Portland Trail Blazers, I look to see the opposing center's points line. But Jakob Poeltl's covered this line in 4 straight games against the Blazers, averaging 18 points per game, Earlier this season, he dropped 31 points on him. Portland has now allowed 5 of the last 6 opposing centers to cover their points line. The only player who didn't was Joel Embiid, who scored 32 points with a line of 32.5. They actually got torched today. Thomas Bryant finished with 31 points. The Blazers aren't covering bigs well, so take Jakob Poeltl to cover his points line. Our next player, we're taking Domantas Sabonis under 19.5 points. He's averaging 18.8 points per game this season. He's covered this line in 4 of his last 10 games. I'm liking this for a few reasons. One is foul trouble. This is why I hate betting on him, but it's going to help us today. I can't even count how many times I've taken one of his props and he's fouled it because of foul trouble. Up against Ja Morant and the Grizzlies, there's a good chance that he finds himself in foul trouble once again. Another reason that only 5 centers have scored 20 plus points against the Grizzlies this season. All 5 of these games happened between late October and the start of December. So in the 21 games since then, a center has not scored 20 plus points against Steven Adams and the Memphis Grizzlies. Speaking of Steven Adams, Domantas Sabonis has matched up with Steven Adams 11 times in his career. In those 11 games, he's only scored 20 plus points once, and that was back in 2019. So back in Aquaman to slow down Sabonis. Our final play, my best pick of the day. One that you're probably not going to find with many YouTubers or cappers out there, because it's not going to be a very popular one, I promise you that. We're taking Alperen Sengun under 35.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Now the Goon squad is on fire as of late. He's covered this line in 3 straight games with PRAs of 54 against the Lakers, 42 against the Hornets, and then another 42 against the Timberwolves. He's been absolutely crushing it since Kevin Porter Jr. has been out injured. I even backed him in the very last game against Minnesota. So why am I taking his under? 3 reasons. There could be a trap line set here. Based on his recent form, you'd expect this line to be a little bit higher. 2, there's a chance Rudy Gobert plays in this one. If he does, he's going to be a much tougher matchup than Naz Reid. The last point, which I think is probably the most important one, is that I watched that last game against the Timberwolves very closely. And while Sengun had an awesome game overall, he was held to 6 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists in the second half. The Minnesota Timberwolves made some adjustments, they shut him down, and I think they do a better job against him in this game. That's all I've got for you for today's video. Let me know in the comment section if you notice the difference in my strategy. 2, let me know if you like it, because if you don't, I'll stop doing it. Simple as that. But I'll catch you in the next video. Best of luck. Gamble responsibly. I'm out. Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to you live from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice and the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.